following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing.
Week number 2 of Thursday Night Racing in the All-American Cup Series is here. It is upon us as we get ready to go Chicagoland Speedway after what was a wild night in Daytona last Thursday night for the kickoff of Season 8 for the All-American Cup Series. Tonight you wonder, can they pull off another wild one here at Chicago? Speeds are up, track is slick, and we are ready to go for 200 miles again tonight here in a track that is, well, famous for great racing. It's a track that unfortunately sits there now without a race. But the other big thing it's famous for is you go back to the early 2000s when this track first opened up. If you remember, the Cup race was called the Tropicana 400, right? Well, and if you remember, during that same time period, a Tropicana Orange was on the back straightaway. Well, that Tropicana Orange decided to take a trip down the back straightaway and onto the track as a severe storm came through that area that night. Actually, during qualifying for the Busch Series race. Interrupted qualifying and so on and so forth, and that's kind of where it leads to the name of this race tonight. The Orange Juice 200 here at Chicagoland Speedway. It is race number 2 of this All-American Cup Series. And, of course, thanks to the presenting sponsors, Leafguard of Vermont, and, of course, Sim Racer Hub. I am the captain. We welcome you on this Friday evening after Justin Thompson going to victory lane last week in Daytona. You wonder, can he do it again here tonight? As we got a stacked field, 41 cars strong, that is ready to go racing. Our champion, Mark Whitley, he's here again tonight. Our runner-up making his debut here tonight, Joseph McCorder. And a few rookies making their debuts here tonight, but the usual suspects ready to go this evening for 200 miles around this 1.5-mile D-shaped oval that has a curve in it, believe it or not. For those who don't remember, as you can kind of see the back straightaway right there, there's a little bit of a bend in there. So it's going to make some interesting strategy. Worn out surface. And we're going to see fast speeds. And I think we're going to see some good side-by-side racing around this track here tonight. So, as I talked about last week, it was the green flag run that led to a caution late in the race that led to some late race stuff and led to Justin Thompson going to victory lane, and that's where we kick off here tonight. As you see the checkered flag wave, here is your point standings entry tonight, and it's pretty much lined up exactly for the most part how they ran last Thursday night. Thompson, who won the race, of course, he is the points leader. Zach Henry, Christopher Dean, Daniel Giroux, Chris Heller, your top 5 right now. Of course, after one race, it should jumble up a little bit more here this evening. But right now, we'll show more of the point standings here in just a little bit. Right now, it is time for the Pole Award, which is presented by MHD, Mike Husby Designs Pole Award, as we'll get out here on track and see who can win the pole. And I want to go to a guy that is being recognized. Sort of. We actually talked about him a little bit during the pre-race, me and a couple of drivers, and we all recognized how good of a run he ran last week at Daytona. Had a chance to win, and we noticed how improved of a driver he has become in this All-American Cup Series, and we're talking about the 45 car, Austin Bloom, who had a fantastic race last week. And we'll see what he can do here in Chicagoland as he takes that Sprite car across the start-finish line to start his lap down to turn 1, the D-shaped oval. As I mentioned, 18 degrees of banking through the corners. And get a little free there as he enters the back straightaway. A little bit of a curve here. You'll see more of it at different angles throughout the race here tonight into turn 3. Very bumpy. Character in this track is real. You're going to see the cars all over the place, from the bottom all the way to the top here when it's all said and done here this evening as the 45 crosses the line. First lap. And he is P2 right now, 31.665. Behind Whitley's 31.603. Track record is held by Casey Carrington. And that lap was a 30.6, if I remember in the notes. Just checking real quickly. It's 30.3, actually. So track record's pretty safe, needless to say, as we've got bright sunshine and a very slick track here. Whitley still on the pole. Thompson, that's another Thompson, by the way, up there. Steve Ritter, 31.55. Where'd that lap come from? And McWhorter jumps up there, 31.43. Good lap for him. Let's see, who else is out there on track? McWhorter, Ritter, Spencer Thompson. Wesley Donaldson jumps up to the 4th position here. A good cast of characters in this field here tonight. Let's check on, as my cameras get all wonky here, Casey Carrington, the boss man, crossing the start-finish line, track record holder. He's going to spot in 8th, 31.63. Zach Henry jumps up to 3rd with a 31.50. Josh Dillon, 31.69. A lot of people completing their laps. And how about this? He wasn't going to be here until Darlington, but surprisingly, we spotted the Mountain Dew team rolling up I-65 through Indiana, heading to Chicago. And what do you know? Here is the driver of the 11 car here tonight. 36 cars getting a lap in here so far as Weeks crosses the start-finish line to complete his first lap. And he goes P4, 31.54. Good lap for him. Let's get you some audio as he rolls down the back straightaway. And down into 3 and 4, 38 cars have run laps. We're going to have all 41 cars run a lap here before it's all said and done, it looks like. As here comes the 11 across the line. Can he jump up even further? He gets faster, a 53, but still P4. Right there ahead of Stephen Miles, who runs a 31.54 himself. Here's Kyle Ethier in the Rusty Wallace throwback. Rusty celebrating a birthday, I believe, yesterday. And look at that, it's a Dodge Charger nose. As Kyle crosses the line, he is 18th with a 31.67. First through 31st within 0.4 of a second of each other. So pretty close lap times here. Rosenberg slots into 31.79 as Ethier's in the green, not the purple, so likely not going to be a pole lap. But he will qualify 13th, 31.60 with an 8. And it looks like it will be Joseph McWhorter winning the pole, presented by Mike Husby Designs. All 41 cars ran laps in that session. So congratulations to McWhorter on the pole. Justin Thompson snuck up there to the 2nd position. Zach Henry 3rd. Matthew Weeks, Stephen Miles going to be your top 5 as we wrap up the qualifying. And a big shout out to Mike Husby Designs for sponsoring, as always, the pole award. And as per usual in the series here, they get a 5-minute warm-up session. So they'll go out there and do that here. And we'll get the anthem done here momentarily. All right, so qualifying in the books here as warm-up will go on. Let's go through our standings and how they set up here as we get ready for the race here this evening. We showed you the regular season standings after one race here so far. The standings when it comes to the teams. Let me make sure I turn the graphics off here because they're going to overlap us. But you see, after one race, where they sit here in the point standings. It is the 2511 team up there by 17 over Laser Racing. 2511 pretty much had that Daytona race in the books when unfortunately last week just kind of fell apart there at the end, but they were still able to get one guy up there in the top three, with that being Zach Henry. But Laser Racing second, CX2 third, Velocity and BPPC Motorsports in the top five there. Rookie of the Year standing, the Dean Machine leading that over Daniel Giroux by 1. Anthony Calantoni third, Michael York and John Osborne your top five there. And then, of course, Chevrolet leading by 3 over Pontiac as the point standings put together there. And we still got a long season to go, 13 races. And going into tonight in the season, not to mention the overall standings too that they're keeping track of throughout the season. Let's take a look at the schedule. After tonight, it is Loudon, New Hampshire for the race there. Darlington on the 29th, which will lead into Labor Day weekend. But you see Daytona crossed off. It is done with, and we've moved on to Chicagoland Speedway here tonight for the second race of this season here. So appreciate everybody here for joining us on this Thursday evening. Hopefully you've had a good week here so far, as I still get used to doing this on a Thursday night now instead of a Friday night. Because I'm like ready to say, all right, let's all have a good weekend, but it's actually the night before the weekend as cars practice their pit stops. As I look down at the time, we got about a minute and a half or so to go, so let's go trackside for the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, back we are here at Homestead getting ready for the race as the warm-up finishes up here from the Speedway. Big shout out to, of course, the driver of the 73, Joseph McWhorter. He wins the pole here tonight. As for the guy that won last week, let's get a quick word.
Let's go racing, boys!
And for a second straight week, he hits me with one of those. Justin Thompson, you got a copy?
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Obviously coming off the win at Daytona, can we make it 2 for 2?
Well, right now I'm not pretty comfortable in the car. I can tell you that. Been having some issues in practice. I'm sure you've seen. You've been up there in the booth watching.
Maybe. Maybe.
So I look like a fish out of water tonight, I know. So,
Well,
we're going to give it the best shot, but confidence level isn't there right now. We'll see you in about 100 laps.
There you go, man. Well, hey, best of luck here tonight.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Justin Thompson, the winner last week at Daytona. he's ready to boogity, as he said there, and potentially go to victory lane, but he said he's not comfortable, so we'll have to see who is comfortable out here on a slick track that you see out here at the Chicagoland Speedway. As for now, let's take a look at the starting lineup. As McWhorter and Thompson on the front row for a man that's not comfortable. P2's pretty good. Henry and Weeks, row 2. Miles, Ritter, row 3. Spencer Thompson, Wesley Donaldson in row 4. Nick Leo, Anthony Calantoni, Michael York, and Mark Whitley, your first 6 rows. Casey Carrington, the track record holder, next to Kyle Ether there, row 7. Charles Van Schaik and James Silvers in row 8. Austin Bloom, Johnny Barker, row 9. Dylan and Dean there in the 10th row. Zach Rogers, Tyler Bellinger in row 11. You saw Mike Cusby there in row 12 alongside of Stan Carnathan, who's making his season debut here tonight. Good to see Stan. Heller and Strunk there in row number 13. Dylan Rosenberg, Jeff Noe in row 14. As you look at the rest of the starters, Sargent, Martin, Mahan, Delph, Ruiz, Daniel Giroux, Barkuski, John Osborne, Melnick, Casbaro, and Sam Harrell. The 41 starters here tonight. 134 laps. As you see, the track temp is up to, or I should say the ambient temp, 88 degrees. Track temp is getting warmer. 24% humidity, which means it's not that humid out there. So it's kind of a dry heat, but it is a warm one as always. Clear skies. You see people already saving fuel out there. And a big shout out again to Leafguard or Vermont for sponsoring the series or being a premier partner, I should say, of the series here this evening. For those kind of curious, should be about 30 or so, 35 laps on a tank of fuel. They do got the 4 sets of tires. And Matthew Weeks actually here tonight in this race. So he is the only repeat winner in the series history here of the Chicagoland Speedway in this All-American Cup Series presented, or I should say, in Season 8 of All-American Cup Series. Joseph McWhorter fell up just short in the pursuit of his championship last season. But he has his chance here tonight to get himself in the win column real quickly. But he's got a lot of talented drivers there behind him as they come off of turn number 4. Hello, Patty Heller, watching the 2511 team. Hello, all viewers. Appreciate everybody for joining us on this Thursday night. Make sure you share the word with your friends and family who might be watching on the stream as we come off turn number 4 in the hands of the flag holder who waves the green flag, and the Orange Juice 200 is underway from Chicagoland as one car already backed off the pace up there towards the back of the field. Not sure who that is. It's Charles Van Schaik, it looks like. But our camera is presented by TrackCams22.com, and one guy getting loose right in the middle there. And everybody 4 wide. That was Ritter in the 16 that got loose. I was starting to say our camera is presented by TrackCams22.com. They are online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. As they race off turn number 4, and it will be Justin Thompson picking up where he left off on lap 1. Already seeing some 2 and 3 wide. Let's get you some car noise, huh? AC Carrington, Kyle Ether. There's the 51 of Michael York. This is back here around the 12th and 13th position. Already seeing some guys flying up here through the field. How about Heller already up 7 positions? Daniel Giroux's up 6. Dean up 4. Bellinger up 5. How about Mark Whitley up 8? Is up the 4th already after starting 12th. As up here for 3rd, there is Matthew Weeks. Trying to take the spot away from, or I should say trying to hold off the 77 to Whitley. His caution's going to come out early here. And Craig Martin has gone spinning off turn 4. Greg Martin with a coffee sponsor on his car apparently has gone around and brought out the first caution. Not sure if he just got loose or got help. Let's see what happens to the driver out of Canada. Brad Delft there behind him in the 14. And he's going to get helped out. Delft sends him packing into the infield there, unfortunately, and caution going to come out quickly. As I mentioned, some tracks are very conservative with their caution waves, and others are pretty aggressive. In this case, Chicagoland setup is a pretty aggressive one when it comes to yellows. This is one of those tracks you don't even want to stop on track. No matter where you are, some reason the yellow will come out, I've noticed. Let's watch here from the crash cam as Delft gets a good run up there on Craig and just gets right up there, just edges them around. Caution out for the first time. And got a couple cars, Michael York and some others coming to pit road. I'm actually going to put the logo up here for a split second. I'll be right back. Error I noticed happening on the screen. I want to get that fixed real quickly. Apologize for the inconvenience. You are not missing anything, I promise. Again, appreciate everybody watching. If you get a chance, make sure you share the stream out with your friends and family who might be watching here tonight. As I promised, I'll be back up here in a second. Just give me one moment. And we're about to go green here this time by. We'll get you back here for the green. All right, here we go. Green flag out, and let's put it on the screen. Right on cue. Lead him saying. Justin Thompson, Joseph McWhorter leads as Whitley coming out with the aggressive top side here, trying to get the run on McWhorter. Matthew Weeks up to the fourth position already. See Henry back there battling with Stephen Miles. The 77 car not playing around tonight. Feels like he's got a car that can win. And he pushes underneath his teammate here. McWhorter kind of scraping the wall off turn 4 already. As Weeks goes by for third. Wesley Donaldson back there. That's him in the 99 car. Spencer Thompson who just signed up this week to join the series. And welcome into him. We'll get a chance here tonight. We'll actually get you introduced to some of the teams in the series because we do got some new teams this season. And I think we're going to see a real good battle when it comes to the teams this season. And it's actually Spence Thompson, not Spencer. So let me correct myself on that. In that 89 car. Driver Zach Henry, the 39. I see lap times fall off here pretty well. Of course, with the 64% fuel in these cars, leads to only about a 35 lap run. That's going to play some strategy in these tires because that means with 134 laps in this race, you're looking at somewhere in the 4 to 5 stop range here potentially. So you might need an extra set of tires to get to the finish of this race. Back here's Christopher Heller in the 13 car. Anthony Calantoni, that Talking Giants number 12 right there in front of him. Carrington, that 9 right in front of him as he tries to chase down Steve Ritter. So on that pit stop, that caution, Michael York, Craig Martin, Jose Ruiz, John Osborne, Sam Harrell, Charles Van Schaik, Jeff No, Steve Melnick, Kyle Hall all came to pit road. And at least took fuel only. So we'll have to watch that strategy later on in this race. As here's the Dean machine underneath James Silvers. It's a battle for the 15th position here. Right down on the bottom right now. You have to see this track open up. I think you'll see that as the tires kind of wear in here. Here comes Whitley. Whitley, who had a rough run at Daytona last week, almost gets into the 3 car. As McWhorter's going to move to 3rd, right behind them. Thompson talked about how he wasn't too comfortable in the track, but you got to wonder, that clean air, if he's feeling pretty comfortable. 4 cars under a blanket here as they battle for the lead. Thompson fighting hard as you see Whitley go by. As he'll take the lead away and bring his teammate potentially with him, McWhorter. Weeks right there, you see Miles and Henry, and you see Wesley Donaldson now up to the 6th position. Field kind of hanging together here. For the most part, the biggest gap I'm seeing is back at about the 18th position, where Josh Dillon about 1.2 seconds off of Tyler Bellinger in the 98 car. And then back at 32nd, Craig Martin about 1.1 seconds off of Christopher Murphy in the 21. Otherwise, everybody's pretty much within 3/10 of each other. I mean, the one thing I am seeing is Thompson is not giving an inch at all these guys. So he tries to angle himself into the corner as Weeks looks underneath for 3rd. So McWhorter kind of yo-yoing a little bit here. Fell back to 4th after getting the wall, bounced up to 2nd, and now back to the 4th position again as Thompson tries to get the run on Whitley. These guys need to settle down for a second so I can go look through the field a little bit here and see what else we got. Back here is Zach Rogers, that 19 car. We mentioned a new number for him and a new car ride there in that Dodge. Inside of the 25, that is Brandon Barkuski. Brandon, that 25-11 team, so close to a 1-2-3 finish last week at Daytona. It all fell apart coming to the white flag. Nick Sargent there, the 24 ride, the Nicotine DuPont car that Jeff Gordon drove back in the heyday. Let's go up front because Thompson is there. Trying to get around Whitley for the lead. Weeks trying to get up there in that 11 car. I mean, you wonder if these guys are trying to pace a little bit here. If they're really racing hard. I mean, it looks good. Let's just put it like that. Almost door to door. As Whitley's going to fall back, you wonder if he might have hurt his tires driving up there through the field early in this run. Wesley Donaldson, Zach Henry there in that 39 car. Spence Thompson behind him in the 8. Now we got 2 Thompsons in the top 10. Silvers, Kyle Ethier back here. Dean, as I mentioned. Let's jump all the way back here to 25th. Here comes Giroux. And that Spectrum 92 car. There's the 14 of Brad Delph, who was part of that first yellow. The 67 up above them. Or the 64, I should say. It's Ryan Strunk. It's actually the 67 on his car. So one of those numbers not matching up. And the 06 behind them of Johnny Barker. Start to come into play. I think you're going to start seeing these cars kind of spread out now. As McCorder going to lose the 4th position. Here comes Stephen Miles. And that Laser Racing number 1. Trying to work that high side a little bit. Works the inside of Whitley. Whitley holds on. As of right now, we ride with Miles. Want to remind you, 40 Racewear has your shoes and gloves and other apparel that you can race with here on iRacing and any other simulator that you might like to race on. You can check out 40racewear.com for all the great merchandise and more that you can wear and help enhance your iRacing or whatever, again, simulator you like to play, and even potentially take them go-karting with you. Not that I've done that, but you can. I would suggest not, but people have done it. At 40racewear.com. The details down in the information section right below the screen here, by the way, if you would like to check out their website after the broadcast or whatever. As Miles working hard to get around Whitley. Whitley kind of shut the door on him, and now to the bottom goes the 1. Oh, Whitley almost catching the outside wall there as Weeks got by him for a second, and Weeks actually starting to put some pressure on Thompson in front of them. There you see the 11. Last season's winner. He's going to get the run on Thompson here, and he's going to go for the lead. So battle for 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th now. As we get closer and closer to green flag pit stops, who's going to be the first one to drop their car on the pit road? Can't help but wonder how much fuel these guys maybe saved during the caution that we had a minute ago. There he goes, Weeks to the front. Yeah, don't worry, guys. I won't be here till Darlington, says the guy who just took the lead. Carrington up to the 8th spot, passing Spence Thompson there. Calantoni behind him is getting loose. They're very easy to do. Off of turn 2 there on that bottom side, the car just wants to snap loose. Of course, when you have cars with 900 horsepower plus in them. Back here at 45, Austin Bloom for the 24th position there behind Nick Sargent. Everybody's getting dancy out here. Dean and Silvers, these guys have been stuck together, it looks like, throughout this race. As they battle out for the 15th position. The 88 behind them with Tyler Bellinger. Oh, easy, James. Ooh, that car was sideways. Up front, Wesley Donaldson, and caution's going to come out. Looking for it here. Let's see. Anybody spun out? And it looks like Jeff Noah's gone around the 55. He's already towed back to the pits. So that's who it is, the 55 of Jeff Noah, going to bring out a caution right before pit stops here. Let's see what happened to Jeff. Right back here behind, or in front of Kyle Hall. Oh, and somebody got out of shape right in front of him. Oh, it's Sam Harrell, the 43. They get together with the 55. And I mentioned earlier about the cars on track and towing and stuff like that. It's very aggressive here at Chicago, so he's going to stop there, and there's the caution right there. So unfortunate for those two cars as here come leaders to pit road. "45 miles an hour into their pit stalls." You're going to see everybody right here. And race off pit road, Matthew Weeks, easily 4 tires and fuel. Thompson, Wesley Donaldson, Mark Whitley, and Stephen Miles, your top 5, it looks like. Carrington moves up to 6. Henry, McWhorter, Calantoni, and Spence Thompson going to be your top 10 as they leave pit road here. Want to mention, you're watching the All-American Cup Series, and a big shout out to our presenting sponsor, Leafguard of Vermont. Make sure you check them out. You can check out all the Leafguard website in your area. Of course, they are around the United States and areas. But, of course, Steve Ritter out of the Vermont area. Of course, as fall season's getting here, it's going to be time to make sure your house is all set up because the leaves are going to start falling. You want to have your gutters cleaned out and so much more. And if you need to, call Leafguard of Vermont and they'll take care of you today. All right, pace car going to double them up here. And I promised this a little bit ago, so let's do it. I talked a little bit about a couple of the new teams here. Want to introduce some of them throughout the night while we get cautions and stuff like that. If we have any more cautions, obviously, watch tonight. We won't have any more, which would be cool. But if we do, we will read off some teams to you. Of course, the 2511 guys back with you this season with Heller, Barkuski, and Zach Henry. And here's a new one for you. I believe this is it Aeons Motorsports with Michael York, Jeff Noe, who was just in that yellow there, and Stan Carnathan, the 97 car. BPPC Motorsports with Wesley Donaldson and Anthony Calantoni. I'm going to have to figure out what that stands for. So big shout out to those guys. Another new team this season, Infinity Racing with Steve Ritter, Johnny Barker. Lanai Racing with Matthew Casbaro and Jared Mahan. Of course, Laser Racing, the former TI Racing, with Miles Ethier and Matthew Weeks now a part of that club. As we come off turn 4, that's just a few of your teams in this series as we go back green here. Lap number 33, Weeks, Thompson, Donaldson, Whitley, and Stephen Miles, your top 5. So I did say it right, it is Aeons. That A and the E were very close together, so I was like, I think that's Aeons? As Nick is going, is in chat. Hello, Nick. Appreciate you watching, young man. Make sure you do share, please, with your friends and family. Carrington up to the 5th position as he tries to track his way up there through the field. Three wide down the back. Here comes Heller. Inside of Kyle Ethier as they both pass Spence Thompson there in the 89. That there for the 13th, 14th position. Nick Leo there behind them. We see throughout the field a lot of great racing. Back there, the 91, that is Dylan Rosenberg with Josh Dillon there behind him. Brandon Barkuski, the 25. Bellinger, Mike Husby, and that 6 car. Still getting used to that one a little bit. That, of course, when I mention Mike Husby's name, we look right behind him. There's Husby's former car of Zach Rogers. We move up towards the front in the quarter. Under attack is his teammate Mark Whitley, who's got a pretty good short run car here. These guys had a chance to get their tires all squared away and put some new ones on and go after it and get some more of that track position. A lot of comers and goers here throughout the race. Heller up 15 positions now to 10th. How about Barkuski up 21 positions? So that 25-11 team's definitely showing their power here so far at the start this season. Is Nick Leo with issues? And it's going to spin across. Oh, he gets clobbered by the 06. And if he's got a vape in his mouth right now, that thing is torn up. Is Rosenberg involved? And so is Zach Rogers now. And we might need a red flag here because there's likely Juul vape all over the place. Let's see how this all started. James Silver's underneath there, and the 17 gets a little free, and 99 gets up in the outside wall, gets loose, and hits the, I think that's the 25 of Barkuski. And he, I mean, like I said, he gets clobbered, and then you see the 91 get spun around in the 19 there, and Dylan spins around, almost gets hit again. Let's see, let's get a better view of this here. Okay, you see Silvers gets a little loose, they almost touch. And it spooks Leo up into the wall. He's going to hit Barkuski. Oh, and right there, the 91 gets turned. There's a liquor here. Oh. We are going to have to go on board. Kids, please have your parents watching here on the stream. Parental guidance is advised for this next replay. That's going to bring a lot of cars to pit road. Let's go up here to Rosenberg now. I saw him get turned. It looked like, did he and Dylan make contact? There you see Leo get the wall. Yeah, they check up right there. Yeah, Dylan gets in the back of him. And bam, Zach Rogers. Unfortunately, nowhere to go for him. So pace car lights are out. Or I should say on. I should say as we're under caution here for the third time here. As we bring Matthew Weeks up here to the booth. Matthew, good to see you here at Darlington tonight.
Oh yeah, right. I know. Made a surprise visit early tonight. Glad to be back. Having a good race so far. So hopefully we can keep this thing right here.
Well, he started fourth, and obviously a good pit stop there, and a good long run car put it up in the lead. And obviously last season you went to victory lane in this race, or last year I should say. Are we feeling pretty good again about tonight? And what's it going to take here? Because it looks like the track's pretty slick.
Yeah, track is very slick. It's going to take a lot. You got to manage this rear tire a little bit. I think I'm actually burning my right front more how much I'm managing the rear. So I'm going to have to balance that a little bit. I see Mark and them are saving now that they caught on to what I was doing. So I'm going to have to switch it up if I'm going to win this race tonight.
So I say, is that a bias thing? Is that a line thing? What have you been doing that you can say?
It's more about just throttle control, really what it is, and a little line. The line does come into play. If you notice, Whitley and McWhorter were ripping outside that last long run for like 10 laps, and then they fell all the way back. So the line does come into play, and the throttle comes into play as well. So it's kind of a mixture of both.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, best of luck, man.
All right, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. Is that Mountain Dew ride up there in the lead right now? They should get one to go this time by. And I started to say earlier some of the newer teams here in the series. How about Lugnut Sim Racing? Ryan Strunk and Spence Thompson. Those guys here. And you got the NA Motorsports, the non-applicable motorsports, I guess this would be. Version 2.0 of Nick Sargent, Austin Bloom. The, still to this day, best name in all of racing on iRacing. Piston Broke Motorsports. With Justin Ray, Craig Martin, Stephen Melnick is now joined that team along with Daniel Giroux. And in Velocity Motorsports, new team there also with Tyler Bellinger, Christopher Murphy, John Osborne, and Jose Ruiz. So a lot of new teams this season. I think is going to produce a really good points battle as long as everybody keeps turning out. And I think that's going to make it really, really fun to watch here throughout the season. But unfortunately, third caution here already out. But we're going to go green this time by at lap 43. As we look out at the Chicagoland Speedway, a track that unfortunately, due to its location and lack of a crowd at times, and unfortunately issues have kept this track from holding on to a cup race, and we hope we go back, but I think a lot of things are going to need to happen as we get the green flag. Weeks and Thompson take off as they go down to turn one. McWhorter, Whitley still side by side for third. Wesley Donaldson there on his own there in the fifth position, and are side by side for seventh, with Carrington and Henry there behind them. Unfortunately, if you look at a map, those who do not know, Chicagoland Speedway is in Joliet, which is actually a town south and west of Chicago. It's actually an hour from the city. And, I mean, they're building up out there. I mean, there's an IKEA there now. I'm not sure what else has been built near that track. Of course, there's the drag strip that's there, the Route 66 Raceway, where NHRA hosts their races there. But other than that, there's not much out there. And when it comes to people traveling, they're like, oh, I don't want to drive an hour out to the race. And then, of course, it's either hot or cold. You know, and those kind of things. And as I mentioned, the location, it just, hasn't paid dividends, unfortunately, and that's where they lost its race, and now unfortunately sits there, and we hope one day they can go back, but you got to find a way to get the people there. And I hate to say, with the tickets of prices of tickets these days, you know, I've already said it a million times, I'll say it again, I would much rather sit here and watch a race on TV now than go to one, because of, as Husby about got turned by Dean, nice job by Chris to check up there. Because of the price and stuff, I'm okay with not spending money and just stay here and watch the race instead of going there and spending what $1,000 probably for a weekend. No, thank you. As you see Zach Henry in that 39 car. And here's, check out the man with the Leafguard sponsorship, the 16 is Steve Ritter. Under attack is that Spence Thompson there to his inside. And lap 48. Hello to the viewers watching here tonight on Captain eSports Network. Appreciate you. If you're new to the chat, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you're not new, we appreciate you coming back as always. This is the fourth trip here for the All-American Cup Series to the Chicagoland Speedway. And not the number you want to hear, but they do average 9 cautions per race in the 3 visits here. And I hope that number doesn't get touched, but we're a third of the way there as we come up to lap 50 this time by. Now, just to kind of go through all of those, we had 10 the first race, we had 10 in the second race, and then 8 last season. It'd be really cool to be able to see these guys get green flag pit stops potentially tonight. 3 cars off the track: Johnny Barker, Nick Leo, Jeff No. Otherwise, everybody who is on the track, for the most part, is still on the lead lap, minus Dylan Rosenberg and Zach Rogers. So back here, 31st position, Sam Harrell in the 43, the 22 of Craig Martin. Craig running a Star Wars coffee car. I'm not sure what the joke is there. I guess I gotta go read the logo to get it. But Craig has some off the wall paint schemes. Oh, it's funny, Mr. Race Fan 1973. Hello, by the way. Appreciate you showing up and joining us. I actually talked about that in a video yesterday, but I gladly will share here. I honestly think they didn't do enough. And in a nutshell, I'll explain it like this. Imagine robbing a bank, and you get arrested, go to jail for it, but yet you get to keep all the money you got from jail, or got from the bank. That's kind of how I feel happened yesterday. And it's not because that they couldn't make the ruling yesterday. I understand that part. But I feel like where they went wrong is they didn't make the ruling at the track on Sunday. I go back to 2004 Daytona, where Jason Leffler had a time penalty after he pretty much spun out Michael Waltrip on the back straightaway and then put Junior in the wall. I go back to another Leffler incident, I believe at Lucas Oil Raceway, when we went 5 laps down because of rough driving. You've had a couple weeks ago, as Denny Hamlin referenced in the Richmond race, Lane Riggs gets penalized for rough driving. So, you know, my immediate question is there a difference in being the leader or not when it comes to a penalty like that? I mean, there was nothing wrong with them saying that, all right, Austin Dillon, rough driving after the race, penalized so-and-so amount of time or a lap or two or whatever. and you go from there. But unfortunately, with them not making the call at the track, I think it put them in a spot where they couldn't make the change now. So, unfortunately, you can go and argue NASCAR kind of dropped the ball on it. But unfortunately, when it's over with, Austin Dillon, 20 years from now, will be the winner of that race. He'll have a trophy in his case. And for a team that, let's be real, was not going to do anything in the playoffs. And Sargent's off the pace here in the 24. And another car's up in the outside wall. That's the 21 of Murphy. But for a team that wasn't going to do anything in the playoffs, and let alone probably not going to win a race without some kind of weird thing happening again this season, that was probably their season. And now they can turn around, put a banner on the wall, and celebrate it because they won that race. So, Weeks into the wall. He miscued the wall. It just smacked it into turn one. But they still got the prize. They won the race. They get the trophy. Austin Dillon wins. And it's one of those, should have took the win away. And you should have done it the night of the race. That's my opinion on that. I know it was a lot longer than I wanted. And caution is out. Stephen Melnick has gone around over here in the back straightaway. The DuckTales mobile. And that brings up the fourth caution. I hope that makes sense what I explained. That's what I shared in the video pretty much. It looks like Rosenberg still with some heavy damage on that 91, but let's see what happens to the 15. Oh, wow. The 13 of Casbaro gets into the back of him. And I don't know if Melnick's trying to save the car or what's going on. And then they hit again. Huh? What's going on here? The caution out again. And here we go, more pit stops. I mean, the part that had me frustrated the most yesterday is the fact that they should have taken the win away at the track, but instead there's still a trophy on his mantle, and he's the winner of the race. A race that he, in a clean way, lost because Joey Logano passed him. As Thompson going to win the race off pit road. Whitley, Weeks, Carrington, Donaldson, McWhorter, Miles, Henry, Ether, and Calantoni are top 10. Brantley Roden checking in, Harpoon Design. Yeah, not a good idea. But even if he didn't say anything and Austin goes and does that, it still doesn't look good. And the fact of the matter is I can almost call it now. I can almost predict Spanky Jr. Dude, you should have to ask for a shout out. Come on, dude. I can almost predict right now that something like this, because we know how sports works, right? You always find a way for something to show its face again. I can almost predict right now that in the playoffs, a non-playoff driver is going to do the same thing to a playoff driver, and it's going to win a race, and it's going to put NASCAR in a very big box in, and be like, so, how you going to handle this situation? I could just see it already right in front of me. You'd picture like a race at, I don't know, Talladega. I wouldn't see Talladega. A Watkins Glen race where, somebody like an AJ Allmendinger or something goes and wrecks Denny Hamlin for the win off turn 7. And what are you going to do about it then? I mean, that's a fair point, Brantley, yeah. Unfortunately, we'll never know. But based off of what I've seen, yeah, he should have been penalized at the track for rough driving. And obviously been assessed a penalty at that point, which would have handed a win to Denny Hamlin, I assume, because he was given second. And go from there. But unfortunately, the call wasn't made. The race was official. They can't change it now, per the rules, apparently. And we got what we got. Nick, I agree. However, with the way the sport is now, as it tries to evolve like a stick and ball sport is now, the playoffs are here to stay. Now, I wouldn't be against them withdrawing the whole win and get in, because I think that plays a role in this, along with the green-white checkers. I think if you eliminate the win and get in, then Austin probably doesn't make that move, or his spotter probably didn't say what he said. As the green flag back out here, Thompson leads, and you know what? Let's as we get close to halfway here, 62 laps complete. I'm going to shut up and let you guys turn it up. Justin Thompson leading here as you see them down the back straightaway. And I am totally seeing what everybody's saying in the chat, and I totally understand all of it. It's a great conversation to be had, and I appreciate your guys' feedback as we hit the halfway point this time by. Thompson back to the front after a great pit stop. Joseph McCorder back up to second. Carrington now third. Whitley and Donaldson your top five. And there's about 8 to 15 cars that could easily win this race tonight. A lot of great competition, a lot of great racing here. You know, the person who I want to be a spider on the wall or something to see a conversation happen with or a reaction is whoever the head of marketing of Coke is. Because you had 3 Coca-Cola racing drivers all involved in that. Austin Dillon, Teddy Hamlin, Joey Logano, all Coke drivers. As Ritter looks underneath Thompson here for 12th, sliding up the track, both of them are. Ooh, Spence is in the wall. Might feel like he got squeezed a little bit there, but he's stuck to it, unfortunately. As Kyle Ethier making moves inside of Zach Henry. Yeah, I made the joke in my Discord page for those who don't follow it. Let me know and I can get you a link to get you into that page where you can join us. We always discuss. I had a great conversation the last couple days about it. But the one thing is Stan Carnathan, unfortunately, having some blinking issues here. The one thing I brought up yesterday is if, like, RCR were to hypothetically sue NASCAR if they would have taken the win completely away or whatever, I made the joke of, well, what does RCR have to stand on here? And then, of course, I go back to the Chase Elliott, Ty Dillon wreck in the Truck Series back in Canadian Tire, and it's like, yep, there it is. So, but thankfully we don't have to worry about that, I don't think. Probably not, but you would think, Brantley, that you would think Coke maybe as McWhorter with a big move to the top side here. You would think Coke probably tries to have their family work together like a team, per se. Thompson fighting hard at the line. Thompson gets it there. And what Justin said earlier, he felt like he was not comfortable here tonight. There must be 40 other uncomfortable cars because Thompson's been able to keep his car up in the top 5 all night. Ooh, little net code there with each other. AC Carrington there behind him like, all right, boys, behave, please. Mark Whitley there with Wesley Donaldson behind him. Matthew Weeks in that battle, too. Weeks had wall damage just a little bit ago. Oh, I'm sure it doesn't either, Brantley. It's just more of a hypothesis. I don't know, you know. Great racing here at Chicagoland. This is what it's all about. The All-American Cup Series with Thompson and McWhorter battling it out. Ooh, hold on, Case. He's getting loose back there. That's the one thing that I've been watching Thompson do every time, and it scares me. But watch how high Thompson takes McWhorter into turn 1. I mean, he does everything but squeeze him into the wall. Is Johnny Barker on pit road. Unfortunately, that 06 car is pretty torn up from earlier. As here comes Whitley for third. As McWhorter clears, or Thompson clears McWhorter for the lead. And caution. As Stan Carnathan has gone around. Kyle Hall looks like with some damage. Stan, unfortunately, having some blinking issues. Not sure what that is. Yeah, unfortunately, well, Stan blinking out, and Kyle, unfortunately, nowhere to go. Gets into the 87, and around he goes. Can't blame Kyle for that one. He couldn't see him. Ooh, strategy coming into play now. Let's cut live because we have a split field here coming to pit road. County 1, 2, 3. I would say about 10 cars staying out. Everybody else on pit road here. Not sure if it's a tire stop here. I'm seeing some cars lift up, but maybe some fuel only. Henry, 7.9. Yeah, they got 4 extra sets of tires, so everybody should have 2 sets here. And I think a majority of these cars went with that set of tires, so we're going to leave them with 1 set now for 56 laps. You know, unfortunately, these guys are going to have to run this set of tires at least 20 to 30 laps. All right, let's talk to a very familiar voice to me, a guy I get to talk to on Sunday and Mondays also. But Wesley, got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Yeah, man, you're looking pretty consistent there. But the most important question I have to ask you tonight, out of all of the laps and the tough racing you've had to do here tonight, is what in the world does BPPC stand for?
Oh no. So it references a team that we have that's been on like the NHL games. Like we have our own club.
Wait a minute, there's another one of those?
Well, it's kind of like half family friendly, half not. It's kind of a play on words.
Oh, I gotcha.
Think like power play. I don't know. It's Big PP Club. Okay.
So big power play club. Got it.
Yes.
Got
yes.
it. Got it.
Just ignore the big rooster on there.
Well, I don't see the logo. I just see the name.
Well, if you look on the deck lid of the car, you'll see it.
We're gonna leave that one alone. But that's interesting because there's a sponsor that in a league I used to run in and broadcast for. They had a I'm trying to remember the name of them. The Grublets on Ice. They're a team that did something like that, so that's kind of interesting. But hey, in all seriousness now, how's the car? I see you've come to pit road here, it looks like, and got yourself back a little bit here, but some strategy potential later in this race, and you've been up there in the top 5 most of the night.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. It's got a bit more stable as the races went on. I really like this track, just in general, so I didn't quite know what to do. I kind of wanted to stay out, but I was like, I don't know. I'm just going to risk it. I'll go down there and take tires and just hope it stays green here. Because I know we've had some decent runs, just not quite long enough to hit those green flag pit stops. But I think if we do hit those green flag pit stops, it's going to put us in a really good spot here.
What's the ideal amount of laps you think you need since you only have one set left?
To where I don't have to pit again. At least.
That'd be ideal, right?
Yeah.
Right,
hopefully
man.
Run this tank out as much as possible.
There you go, buddy. Well, hey, save some fuel. Best of luck.
Yep.
That is Wesley Donaldson, as we've learned something new tonight. The Rooster team, as he did not think of any way, shape, or form that there would be some. As McCorder takes off here, and Green back out. Weeks, Miles, and Charles Van Schaik now your top 5. The top 10 cars pretty much stayed out as these guys, look at this. I'm seeing 3 wide everywhere. Everybody trying to get that track position now. Ooh, Giroux gets hit by Harrell. Harrell gets out of it. Let's Giroux save it. Henry getting a little free there as these cars try to get their tires up to temp. Zach Rogers on pit road. Unfortunately, his night's getting worse as Mike Husby coming to pit road. Not sure if there's a penalty involved here or something. Maybe a black flag is. Here comes Carrington and Heller, and there is Anthony Calantoni. As up front for second. These cars are all sideways. Look at the rubber laying down. Oh, Weeks, hold on. Oh, more contact, and around goes Wesley. He was hoping for maybe a yellow early. Otherwise, he didn't want to be the yellow. I'm going to probably find a way to get blamed for that. Great save by everybody involved there. That got a little frantic. Let's see what happened to the hometown driver here. Oh, he and Ether come together. He slid up into him, and then Silvers unfortunately gets into him, finishes him off. And this is going to bring a good amount of leaders to pit road again. This time, guys that stayed out. So I'm seeing McWhorter, Miles, Weeks, Whitley, Ethier, Ritter, Dean, and a lot of guys towards the back topping off the tanks. I mean, just think, I want to go back to what we've been discussing in the last few minutes. How hard is it, and you guys help me out here. Brantley, you got a little bit of knowledge here with what you do for a living. How hard is it to go in there and just simply put a rule in there that states any wrecking that's deemed intentional or some, just wording like that of some sort could result in loss of win? I mean, does it have to go through the United States Senate and stuff? I mean, come on. Just thinking out loud. Charles Van Schaik getting himself a lap lead. As it looks like I'm now counting 1, 2, 3, 4 cars officially that have not pitted at either of these last 2 cautions that are still on track. Van Schaik being one, Austin Bloom, John Osborne, and Christopher Murphy. Those 4 cars have not pinned to pit road since lap 58. The rest of these cars either came in at the caution just a few minutes ago or the caution now. I mean, is it one of those technicalities where, like, you have to word it perfectly? Since everything apparently in the world now is verbed or termed by the, like, literally word for word, verbatim. I mean, that's the part I get confused by. It's like, do we really follow this thing word for word, and we can't sit there and be like, well, this is how it looks, this is how it looks. We have to literally say if you wreck somebody on purpose, you're done. I mean, I would think that you'd be able to make that move. It just seemed to me, Brantley, that though they say you can't take the win away, like on Wednesday when they made the decision, it just seemed to me that the way I took it, that because it wasn't made on Sunday, they can't take it away now. Maybe I'm wrong. That's just kind of how I took it. I mean, I think 99% of NASCAR fans know what the right call was. All right. Coming off turn 4, Van Schaik with some older tires here, leading Justin Thompson, Casey Carrington, James Silver's now up to 4th, and Christopher Heller, your top 5. Wheels spinning all back to green as Carrington dives at the bottom. Uh-oh, big wreck, McWhorter. Oh, and Rosenberg runs over Dean. Cautions, breed cautions. Apparel involved also. What happened? But the 73 of McWhorter, pole sitter, involved in this wreck. Looks like he was checking up, and some 3 wide into 1, and well, Sam Harrell unfortunately got into the back of the 77 or 73 there. Harrell was not singing Sweet Child of Mine to McWhorter, unfortunately, here it looks like. Oh, you know, I didn't see the car check up in front of Joe. Who was that in front of him? Was that the 7? I believe it was. Let's watch this again. Watch the 7 check up in front. At first, I thought Sam ran him over, but actually, looks like the 7 just doesn't get up to speed here and checks up to 73, and the 43, unfortunately, check up City. Heath here with some damage. Early in this season, you get back here. Unfortunately, guys you might not know or maybe never raced with. And this kind of deal can happen. Nick is over here saying in chat, yep, we have caution again. Appreciate the viewers who have been hanging out here. I've been watching a pretty good number here throughout the night, so appreciate everybody. If you're new to the chat, hit subscribe and Share it out there with your friends and family. The All-American Cup Series here on Thursday nights. Tomorrow night, got some dirt racing from Cedar Lake. Before we take Saturday night off as usual and come back on Sunday. Some Xfinity season racing from Iowa. Tell you one thing I want to talk about a little bit here. Let's talk about our rookie class this season. And I mean, each season I can't help but be impressed with some of the names. A lot of them either run in different leagues or just you get some newer guys in here. But you got Christopher Dean, of course, this season, that 48 car. Obviously know him from other series. Daniel Giroux, Callan Tony. Going to be a good one. Michael York, John Osborne, Tyler Bellinger, Jose Ruiz, Jeff No, who unfortunately is out of the race here tonight, Jonathan Altman, Johnny Baker. And you got plenty of guys who hadn't even made starts this season. I mean, Stan Carnathan making his debut tonight. Seth Foudy, whose name we haven't talked about. He is not here these first couple weeks. Clinton Sneed, who, of course, is the man behind Sim Racer Hub, which is one of the premier partners of the series this season. But, of course, Sim Racer Hub, I mean, what's the percentage? About 90% of leagues, if not 95% of leagues, use Sim Racer Hub for their stats and for points and stuff like that, including this one. That will tell you that Casey Carrington is now officially 2 starts away from 100 career starts. As we come back to the green, Justin Thompson started outside pole. James Silvers is Casey Carrington. Not a good restart. How about Anthony Calantoni? I just mentioned a rookie up to the 4th position. I call him a rookie, and he's not really a rookie. Look at, holy moly, look at the 77 of Whitley. Oh, and in along goes Barkuski. And more cars in the walls. Ethier Rex. Ritter goes around. Kyle Hall involved. Josh Dillon. And we are well on our way towards that average, unfortunately, of cautions. Oh, T-Bone State. Craig Martin involved. Carnathan gets some damage. I have to get a better view of that. Brandon's coming up the track there. I'm not sure if you knew Ritter was there. Man, Dylan with a lick. Ethier involved. There's Kyle Hall with the damage. So after these last couple wrecks, a lot of cars getting their damage fixed. So again, next week we'll hit the magic mile of the New Hampshire Motor Speedway for race 3 of this 8th season. So I was talking about Clinton Sneed and, of course, Sim Racer Hub, another partner of this All-American Cup Series. And one thing I've been able to do is, with all the leagues I broadcast, is just go in here and break down all the numbers and stuff and pull up some things. And when I look at, how about this? Let's pull up the 3 races we've had at Chicagoland Speedway, for instance. Here. So as I look at some of the numbers here, we've had 5 drivers make all 3 races and now 4 races. One of them leaves the list here tonight with Nick Terrell, but you have Casey Carrington, Brad Delph, Kyle Hall, Craig Martin have made all now 4 starts in the league here. Best average finish from all of these drivers, which is kind of construed because you get some guys with 1 and 2 starts and things, but believe it or not, it is Carrington with 9.3 with those with 3 starts. Matthew Weeks, actually, believe it or not, has a 1.5 average in his 2 starts. Which obviously at 1.5, that means he finished first and second in those races. Take Chicagoland out and look at some of the numbers here, just speedway-wise. And seeing some pretty interesting numbers here. So, like, on the speedways, which this is mostly tracks like Atlanta, Auto Club, Legacy Charlotte, Current Charlotte, Chicago, Darlington, Dover, Homestead, Indy, Kansas, Kentucky of Legacy, and there's actually not a new Kentucky on here. Vegas, Michigan, Twin Ring, Motegi, Nashville, Phoenix, old and new, Pocono, Rockingham, Texas of old, and the Milwaukee Mile to help you out with that. So Carrington with the most starts with 62. Best average finish, we'll go with 20-plus starts. Actually, we'll do 18. 18, Zach Henry with 6.1. Mark Whitley, 25 starts, 6.8. And driver with the most wins, Mark Whitley, actually 11 wins on the speedways. So you wonder why he's been pretty fast here tonight. Carrington with 5, Weeks and Rogers 5 and 4, Heller with 3. So you're seeing those usual suspects up here at the front here tonight. But that's some of the stuff that Sim Racer Hub can pull together for you. Some good numbers there. As we get ready to come back to the green here with 37 laps to go. Justin Thompson, James Silvers, Casey Carrington, Christopher Heller, Anthony Calantoni, your top 5. And let's see what happens here. Silvers spinning the tires. These guys take a deep breath as they roll to turn 1. Thompson with 2/10 of a second as we watch the battle here. Wesley Donaldson, Ryan Strunk, Daniel Drew, Jose Ruiz all in there. And to answer your question, Nick, not too good. Just peeked over at standings really quickly, and neither one of them having a good run right now, but at least they're trying. So we got the top 6 all pitted at lap 77. The first guy who pitted at 84 is this guy right here, Stephen Miles. He and Matthew Weeks running 7th and 8th. And you got a couple guys that pitted at 95. Brad Delph and Charles Van Schaik back at 16th and 18th. Michael York, the best of the Aeon's racing team, running in the 16th position, I think I just saw. As Miles underneath of Spence Thompson, battle for 6th. Miles gets around him. Weeks trying to clear behind him. Here comes Wesley Donaldson with him. Donaldson, who is unfortunately a part of that spin, but has worked his way back up to 9th here. To go. So many different strategies here. Everybody should, for the most part, have one set of tires left now in the pits. At least is up front. Casey Carrington going for the lead. And he takes it away. Thompson able to draft right back by him. Cross back over maybe here. Gets a little loose in front. That's going to give Heller a good run off two. And speaking of a driver looking for something good to potentially happen, this driver of the 8 car. Heller, the winner last season in Dover, picking up his first win. And his last win before that was all the way back, and I mean a while, unfortunately. I mean, you got to go back to March of 2023 at Darlington. So Heller is looking for another win here in the second race of the season. He passes Carrington for second, and now looking at Thompson for the lead. His 2511 team bringing some muscle this season. And here comes Anthony Calantoni. Heller is... oh, he was clear for a second. Loose sliding up the track there as Ether aborts, gets out of the way, and unfortunately Heller has to withdraw to Thompson there. As Carrington and Calantoni battle for third, Weeks right there behind them. Mama Heller, who's watching here tonight, would love to see Chris go to victory lane. But as I mentioned earlier, there's a good amount of cars here that have that speed that could come up here and win this race at any time. For a second, they were 3 wide there as Weeks got to the inside of both Calantoni and Heller. As hold on there, Anthony. Weeks got himself a pretty good long run car here, and he's showing it in that 11. It's all about throttle control here this evening, as here comes Miles now. Weeks gets clear of Heller, and now Calantoni under attack is Miles, who also has those tires from lap 84, lap 85. That slight edge might be helping the 11 and the 1 and the 99 that's coming behind him. And then you look back here at the lap 94 tires of Mark Whitley. Mark in the 8th position right now. And of course, the $1,000,000 question, who can make it? Pretty sure everybody can. 134 cents. Actually, no, everybody's going to need to pit one more time here. So, with the way the fuel is set up as Josh Dillon comes to pit road, so that's still got a factor into this race, is who will pit for what. As Brantley's pointing out in the chat, which I was just thinking, I'm trying to break this down a little bit. Lap 95 would be, you'd have to go 40 laps with, we haven't had a caution since. Can you do 40? As Silver's going to get the wall here as he's going backwards now. Has to hold on to her. You got to do 40 laps on a tank. I mean, it's possible. And Weeks is going to come to pit road. And he's going to bring Daniel Giroux with him. I was wondering how this was going to shape out. So everybody coming in for pit stops here. Is it at least 2 tires and fuel? Do you have to take 4? Four tires for Weeks, it looks like, as he'll pull away. And trying to pull the undercut here. 14-7, Daniel Giroux, 21-second stop. Apparently he had to jump out and change his own tires. As Thompson back to the front, by the way, in front of Carrington now. Anybody else going to blink and come to pit road? Not yet. 19 to go. And once again, thank you to all the viewers. Appreciate everybody watching here. Hopefully we'll see you again next week in New Hampshire. And hopefully hit that subscribe button and notifications so that you'll know when the captain's on the air. As we'll be back tomorrow night for some dirt racing at Cedar Lake. Hopefully you can come join us for about an hour or so, hour and a half. And watch some cool dirt car racing in the street, dirt street stocks. Here, thought I saw some 3 wide here for a second, but everybody 2 wide and behaving pretty well. Thompson by 3/10 over Carrington, Heller, and Donaldson. And then Miles in 5th. 5 times in the 33-second bracket right now. This one down checked on Weeks, 31.92 for him. So he's a good 1.5 seconds faster than everybody right now. And as a matter of fact, there he is behind. Calantoni's going to go to pass him. Ooh, it's Ethier. Yikes. Pretty much threw himself in the wall to make sure he didn't get in the way of his teammate there, Miles. As up front, here comes Carrington again. As Wesley Donaldson comes to pit road. I can click on his name. There we go. Should be 4 tires in. Oh, wait, Wesley didn't get in the stall. He had to step up real quick. That's going to kill him time-wise a little bit. I think they're still taking registrations, Nick. So, yeah, be glad to have you, bud. 4 tires and fuel for the 99. 15.5 after he had to kind of scoot up a little bit in the old pit stall. As here comes Carrington. Here comes Heller to pit road. Carrington's already in the stall. And it looks like Heller is also. 4 tires for Heller, 2 tires for Carrington. There's the first non-4 tire move. As here comes the leader, Thompson. Three car trying to go back-to-back and win the first 2 races this season. And he's going to go 4 tires and fuel. So right now, Carrington, the only one that's gone with the different strategy here. As Stephen Miles now leads. Mark Whitley up to second. Now, out of all the cars on iRacing, this one might be the easiest car to save fuel in because there's not much drag pulling back the car and slowing it down. So you can coast this car through the corners and be okay. And still be able to maintain some good speed. Galantoni coming to pit road. That 84 car is in. Now, for those who don't know, Talking Giants, by the way, a podcast. If you're a New York Giants fan. Oh, caution! It's Wesley Donaldson. Oh, no. This race just got flipped on its head. What happened to the 99? He had new tires and all. As Galantoni was on pit road. Be an interesting conversation right there in that chat right now. Oh, Wesley had to check up, and then the 24 got in the back of him. He had a couple slower cars in front of him. They checked up. He got in the back of, or almost got in the back of, and then the 24 got in the back of him. Well, that's going to bring who's left on pit road. You'll be able to see here. As here's an interesting, as Weeks and Carrington are actually back on the lead lap from unlapping themselves before the caution, they stay out. And the rest of these guys, 4 tires and fuel. You would expect McWhorter a 2-tire stop. Well then, Weeks is going to have 12 lap older tires, it looks like here. As we're going to get the green with less than 10 laps to go. And what has turned into a pretty exciting race here. And next week, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. As for those who have not seen it, here is your schedule for this season. Loudon, as mentioned, in Darlington the following week. We get past Labor Day into Michigan, Nashville Super Speedway. The only week off is Halloween. And that's right there after Richmond, before Charlotte. All the way out to Homestead right before the Thanksgiving weekend. Or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Something we might want to bring into play here. I think we're okay. Keyword here, I think we're okay, and sometimes I have to bring it up even though we've never had a race end this way. But as you know, all the All-American races have a time limit. As you see right here, we're just past the 1.5 hour mark of 2 hours. And yeah, there's 7 laps to go, so like I said, we should be okay. But if we start wrecking and having a ton of green white checkers, this could get interesting. All right, so we double up. I mean, look at some of these names now towards the back. Justin Thompson, 24th now. Anthony Calantoni, 23rd. Heller, 21st. They are going to be hauling it through the field here likely with the cars that they have. So this is going to get wild. But Matthew Weeks with 12 lap older tires. Casey Carrington with 2 tires that are 5 laps older than the rest of the field that came to pit road. Miles is 3rd. Whitley is 4th. McWhorter, 3rd car inside, has 2 tires on his car now. There'll be a test later for those who didn't take notes. Don't spin the tires. As they roll to the green, Weeks on it. Carrington, not a good start on the outside lane. Then caution right back out. Everybody scatters. I think Michael York has gone around the 51 car. And as the Mountain Dew car takes the lead, the other Mountain Dew car has a wrecked can. See what happens. York was up there near the top 10. You see everybody spinning tires. Goes into the corner and everybody checks up and oh, squeeze job. Oh, into the wall hard off of Ritter. Well, nobody else got involved in that. But they tried to squeeze in there, and unfortunately the 22 and the 16 come together. And caution back out. This might be an overtime finish. As we should get 2 to go, if not this time, next time by. If we get it next time, then it will be overtime. If we don't, then there's a chance we get a traditional green-white checker. Just checking the rule book here. Trying to remember off the top of my head what it is. But I believe it's 3 green, white checkers. And it looks like we will get 2 to go. We got 2 to go that time, I think. So we'll get 1, which takes 2 to go. So this will go to overtime officially. A green, white checker finish here at Chicago. Now here's where you got to look at the situation. Matthew Weeks has older tires on this car. The benefit of older tires in iRacing is the fact that these tires in this track is so sensitive to weather that Miles's tires is going to take about a half a lap to get him to the temp. So Weeks will have the advantage, believe it or not, with the warmer tires in 1 and 2. Question then is what happens after that. Last season's race went 144 laps of overtime. Season 4, 135 laps. Only season 2 did we have a traditional finish without overtime. Will tonight be the second, or will we go to overtime? Hold on, put your seatbelts on, my friends. It has been a fun Thursday night of racing. We've had 2 great races. There's going to be tons of wheel spin. And tons of action as we come back to the green. Through 3 and 4. Weeks on the pedal. Here we go. Green flag. Everybody clean, it looks like. 4 tires side by side for second. It's a drag race down into 3 and 4. Weeks protecting the bottom, slides up. They're going to be 3 wide off of 4. There's contact and they're wrecking. As they come to the white, everybody's clean and green. Miles to the lead. He's trying to hold on. Everybody's trying to hold on. Three wide for second. Tonight is the night. As Stephen Miles comes off turn 4, his first All-American Series win. And his new tradition of going to the grass. Spence Thompson finishes second in his first start. Carrington third, Silvers fourth, Charles Van Schaik fifth. for Stephen Miles. That's his 43rd start in the series, and finally to victory lane for the one car. He's had so many top 5 finishes and stuff, and a well-earned one here as he survives the mayhem there on the last couple laps. As we'll take a look at the finishing order. As Miles wins it by 6/100ths over Spence Thompson. Casey Carrington 3rd. James Silvers, Charles Van Schaik, John Osborne 6th. Austin Bloom finishes 7th. Christopher Murphy 8th. Brandon Barkuski 9th. Craig Martin comes back to finish 10th. Justin Thompson gets back to 11th. Henry 12th. Brad Delf 13th. Anthony Calantoni 14th. Steve Ritter with a top 15 finish. 16th going to Tyler Bellinger. Nick Sargent 17th. The 18th position to Christopher Heller. Joseph McOrder ends up 19th with Jose Ruiz 20th. Wesley Donaldson 21st. Daniel Giroux 22nd. Ryan Strunk 23rd. Jared Mahon 24th. Steve Melnick finishing 25th. 26th to Dylan Rosenberg. Matthew Casbarro 27th. Mark Whitley ends up 28th. Michael York 29th. And Stan Carnathan 30th. Matthew Weeks 31st. Kyle Ether 32nd. Kyle Hall 33rd. Josh Dillon 34th. Sam Harrell 35th. Dean 36th. Husby 37th. Zach Rogers 38th. Johnny Barker 39th. Nick Leo 40th. And Jeff No in the 41st position. Holy moly, what a race. Let's show off the last 2 laps there. As they came to the white flag. I wasn't sure if the yellow would come out, but they spun off the track. And look at Miles. He's fighting this wheel right here. Spence Thompson had a chance. Charles Van Schaik giving everything he can in that 0-0 down there in the bottom. 3 wide. Let's actually scroll back a couple extra seconds here and let's go back to what happened here. Contact with the 77 and the 11. As we'll talk to our top 3 finishers. As Carrington hangs out up here in the waiting room as watches that barn burner of a finish.
I had a front row seat to it, baby.
I was going to say, you had a front row seat to a lot of it tonight.
I thought I was going to be part of it for a second.
Great effort, obviously, finishing 3rd this evening.
Yeah, we didn't qualify well, and the dirty air in this car seemed, I don't know if it was just tonight with the setup and the track conditions, but usually in this car I talk about how you don't really feel the dirty air, but I felt it tonight. I mean, it took me probably 20, 30 laps to get inside the top 10 after starting like 14th or whatever. And thought I was going to be in for a long haul. I mean, there was one point, this league is just so stacked now at this point that I was looking at one point at the guys that were running in the top 10, and it's like those are all pretty much race winners. And yeah, we just, like I typically do when I qualify poorly, just worked my way up the field, and 2 or 3 cars here and there. Obviously, we had a lot of caution tonight, which is kind of normal for this track, but we're just patient, didn't make too many mistakes, and honestly just got lucky there with the way it played out at the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, you also did that strategy. You guys come in for the green flag pit stops. You and Weeks did, you and Weeks did, and you come out with 2 tires there and able to get yourself back on the lead lap right before that caution. That was pretty big.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to play out like that. Thankfully, I underfilled the car, so it wasn't as loose as it should have been, or could have been. Yeah, man. I mean, I figured, I was thinking about it on that last restart last year. Similar situation. Matthew's leading. I'm second or third on old tires, and everybody else behind me. And I got swamped and finished like 12th. So I was just hoping I could hang on to a top 10, and then things got crazy, and I thought I was going to be in it there when Matthew and Whitley got together, and then Miles, I think, got a piece of it and had to check up, and I could have ran him over, but I'm not going to race like that. Plus, I was so worried about not getting run over myself, and I just wanted to avoid it, make sure I avoided him. And yeah, I mean, that was a crazy finish for second. I mean, he kind of walked away with it off of 4 for the win, but I think we might have been 3 wide or close to it for second place.
Yeah, you were it was pretty close. Well, great job, though, and obviously send some shout-outs whoever you like to.
Oh, man, I want to shout out you for doing the broadcasts for the last, 2 years, essentially. Do a great job. Shout out to Leafguard of Vermont for being a premier partner for the first half of the season. Shout out to Sim Racer Hub, Clinton Sneed, and everything he does, not only with the site, but with his league on Tuesday nights, the other half of Sim Racer Hub All-American Showdown. Shout out to my teammates, Josh Dillon, Zachary Rogers, Mike Dillon, Mike Husby. Yeah, I've been hearing the name Dillon too much this week. But all 3 of them pretty much had a sucky night. I know it's the curse of CX2 and all, but thankfully I was able to get some decent points for the team. Shout out to Miles, man. I'm so happy for him to finally get a win. I was beginning to get worried he would never get one, and I know exactly. It seems like there's always one guy in All-American that takes forever to get their first win, even though they're due. And thankfully he was able to finally come out for him at the track that he infamously had a mishap at last time we raced there. So
right.
Shout out to him.
Maybe it's a revenge race.
Be sure to mention that in the interview.
Thanks for reminding me of that. Great. That was fantastic, man. Obviously, great effort tonight, and we'll move on to the Lobster track next week.
Yeah, it'll be my first time ever racing there. Pretty much anything. I just bought it for this season. So
Oh,
thanks
dear.
everybody for watching too. I hope it was a good race when it was green.
There will be a practice session likely up after this race for the league.
Probably Wednesday night.
Good job, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Casey Carrington finishing 3rd. Congratulations to him, as he'll go down and talk to some guys himself. And we'll talk to our 2nd place finisher, as he's the best of these Thompsons here tonight. As it's kind of funny, you show up in chat here this week, join the league, and Casey's words are, "Oh, great, another Thompson to put up with," and you go out there and about win this thing.
I know. I'll tell you what. I ain't gonna lie. My heart was racing at the end of that thing there. It's crazy how those last few laps and the events that kind of fell into place for me there. It's like I didn't really expect that kind of stuff to happen there, but definitely thankful to be able to come out with a top 3 there in 2nd place. Congrats to Steven there. Good job on his part, holding on to it at the end. I'm sure he was probably wheeling the heck out of that thing at the end. But yeah, it was just crazy stuff at the end like that. I mean, I figured, crazy thing before that last caution, we were getting ready to, we called out to go to pit and just kind of see how stuff was going to play out. And then literally as I'm calling it out, the caution comes out. So it was just crazy events kind of unfolded for us at the end of it. And luck kind of fell on our side there and couldn't be happier with it.
You obviously ran between, we'll call 7th and 15th throughout the night. I mean, you had a pretty solid car. Obviously a tough group of guys up there at the front of the field, so it had to feel pretty good to see yourself up there into the top 10, into the top 5 battling at the end.
Oh yeah, no question. I really didn't know really what to expect from some of these guys, because there's a lot of them in here that I've never raced with before. But I was able to actually check out your broadcast of the race last week, and was kind of watching a little bit, and I was impressed with what I saw there. Definitely a crazy race at Daytona last week for all the guys in here, but yeah, like I said, really just didn't know what to expect. I figured, we had some speed in practice there. Was able to go out and qualify inside the top 10. Had a couple of moments where we would scrub the wall a little bit. Seemed like a lot of guys were having, a couple of guys were having that kind of problem there. But, we were, like you said, we were fighting between 7th to 15th. Fell back as far as 18th, I think, at one point on a green run there, just because of the fact that we kept on hitting the wall a few times. And it was hard to pass though too. We got in dirty air, and it was almost like you were probably waiting for something to happen, as far as like either somebody getting a little bit loose in front of you, or you can get a good run on the outside lane out of somebody. So slick conditions out there tonight though too, but all in all it was a fun race. Couldn't be happier with how we performed though tonight. Could have been a heck of a lot worse at one point. At some points, I wasn't feeling too confident when we started falling back in the field like we were, but kept on fighting. Figured we could be able to hopefully get back up inside the top 10, at least finish in that, realm right there. But definitely happy with the second place. Would have liked to have won that thing, but still happy to finish second to Steven there, and he drove a heck of a race at the end of it. But we were just kind of sitting there hoping to pounce on something if it happened, and it's crazy how stuff worked out for us, though.
Well, great job tonight. Congratulations, and send some shout-outs to whoever you like to.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. Got to thank all the guys at Lugnut Sim Racing. We put this group together starting last year, so got a good group of guys there. Got to thank all my teammates. Ryan Strunk struggled tonight, but he kept on fighting as well. But we're going to keep on working. Also got to thank the fine guys at Strunk Works Designs for putting the paint schemes together before the race started tonight. Got to thank all the league admins for what they do. Appreciate Casey for bringing me on board in here and letting me race with all of y'all, and appreciate the league invite from him. Thanks to you for broadcasting the race to all the fans out there. Hopefully they enjoyed the show tonight.
Absolutely, man. Well, great job tonight. Congratulations.
Hey, appreciate you.
Absolutely. As Spence Thompson finishes in the second position. Congratulations to the driver of the 89 car. And there he is. That's what I was looking for. Looking for Mr. Miles down here. And the Laser Racing team is 43 starts later. Finally, Stephen Miles goes to victory lane at Chicagoland. I can only imagine how you're feeling right now.
Has it been 43? It feels like 150,
right?
Actually.
No kidding, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
according to the numbers.
Yeah, man. You know how I am.
Yeah.
You know how I probably reacted, but this probably feel like one of the biggest wins I had in a long time. And I know I won my share, but man, every league I pretty much been in, I got a win, and this was the only one I think, or it's probably one more. But man, I'm ecstatic right now, man. We did it, man. I finally was able to come through and get it by half a car, I think.
Yeah, it was 6-100. So you get that caution. Obviously, it gets you up there towards the front. You have Carrington with 2 tires and Weeks with older tires, and then obviously they get together down below you at that moment. Like, what's going through your mind?
Was it Whitley? I think it was Whitley and Weeks that got into it.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it was Whitley and
Okay.
Weeks that got together, but Carrington and Weeks were in front of you at the restart.
Oh, well, I was thinking
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Well, right then, I know Weeks is my new teammate. I'm glad to have him aboard Laser Racing, man. And I knew he pitted and he had older tires, so in my head, I was just trying to get a good restart. And then right in the middle of the one, man, I got a little loose, but I should have just took the high side and tried to get past him as fast as I could, because I knew it was going to be a caution. And when it came out, I was disappointed. But my teammates got me back in order pretty much, and I knew I was going to restart. So it was just putting all my focus on that restart. And I don't think I did a good job with that. And there at the end, man, it was just hard racing. I knew I had to stay on the outside for both of them. And anytime you're in a race with Whitley, man, or Weeks, either one of them, man, it's a dogfight. And when I went 3 wide, and I felt like it was just gonna be, I felt like we were gonna split Weeks and just be mano a mano, but it scared the mess out of me, man. They put me in the wall hard, and I felt like I was at Daytona again. I kind of held up in the wall, trying not to get loose and just turn it back to the infield. And when I took it down to the trial, I seen Casey coming, so I was just trying to put myself back in the position on the outside. I knew he had 2, and I felt like I had a car that was better than everybody behind me. But in 3 and 4, I went through there and got loose, and I realized, I have more damage than I probably thought, and made it a close one right there, man.
Well, great job tonight, man. Obviously well earned, and I know it's been a long time coming. A lot of top 5s and top 10s and frustrations and all. And you see what's really cool is I look over your Discord, I see all the congratulations and stuff to you from the drivers and stuff who have been around you. So obviously you've earned it, and great job, and send some shout outs.
I want to shout out you for broadcasting, doing a good job. Shout out Casey, man, for running this league for as long as he's been, and getting the drivers in here and the different competition that comes through, and having 41 cars start here and the cautions that we did. I mean, it was pretty much a good good race. I wish it would have had more long runs where I was stronger on, but it was good. And appreciate all the drivers and all the fans and everybody that showed support. And thank my teammates Dean, Weeks, and Ethier. And we changed our name over as Laser Racing, baby. And I guess that's probably what I needed to get that win. And thank my mom and my dad. I know they're watching, cheering me on. Thank my girlfriend, my sons, my kids. Thank everybody for this one, man. This feel like one of my biggest wins. So appreciate it, man. Thank God.
Absolutely, man. Great job tonight. Congratulations. All the best to the family as always. And congratulations.
You too, man.
Absolutely. Stephen Miles, the winner here tonight at the Chicagoland Speedway. Gets his first win, 43rd career start. And I always say the first one's the hard one. So guess what? He'll be in victory lane, I'm sure, pretty soon here this season when it's all said and done. So let me peek over here really quickly and see if the points are updated. They usually are. Casey's pretty daggum good at this. And they're not yet. So we'll give it a minute here and see, as he's probably got a lot of things going on. Obviously, the good news is a lot of people seem fairly happy with how everything went here tonight. I know there were obviously a good amount of cautions when it was over with tonight, but still some fantastic racing throughout the series. Yeah, he looks pretty busy. So, you know what, we'll get you the points here next week, and obviously as they get going, we'll show them off to you here as we go. So, big shout out to Stephen Miles on the win. Big shout out to our friends at Leafguard of Vermont for, of course, being the premier partner of the All-American Cup Series. Big shout out to all the viewers watching here tonight. Big shout out to all the drivers for a fantastic race again tomorrow night. We're back on from Cedar Lake for some dirt racing and a dirt street stock. Should be a lot of fun there. Otherwise, we're going to head out, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night, your week, and we'll come back next week for some All-American racing at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in Loudon, New Hampshire. Always remember, this isn't just a game, it's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain eSports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
following is a special presentation. From the Captain eSports Network.